And with Space Jam: A New Legacy to be released Friday, we won't have another show before then. So we thought, why don't we end with just kind of some thoughts on Space Jam, what we want to see in the new movie, some predictions. And I guess I'll start off because I have a very strong take, and I just want to get it out there. I don't want anyone to steal it. I need this to be known that this is how I think this will go. And so something tells me that LeBron's Toon Squad will win the game. Just a weird feeling tells me that. But I think it's not going to end with the buzzer beater. Jordan in his movie, it ended with a dunk from half court or whatever. I think this movie ends with a LeBron chase down block. Because obviously probably his signature play of his career is the chase down in the 2016 finals versus the Warriors. So instead of being, a prototypical ending, like just a normal buzzer beater or whatever, fadeaway, I think he's going to win it with the chase down block. And I think that's what will set it apart. So kind of just open the floor. What are some of the things you guys are looking for?
Well, first of all, to your prediction about a chase down block, I can understand why you think that. But from the perspective of someone who's making a movie, a family movie, I think anything that is not anything that isn't a game-winning buzzer beater isn't going to do it. I mean, like, little kids aren't going to see LeBron end the game with a chase down block and go, oh, well, that is his signature move. It is that signature move that he did against the Warriors there. So that makes perfect sense.
The recording has stopped.
I think it'd be silly. Now, in terms of what I think is going to happen in the game, I actually think it's going to go to overtime. I think it's going to look like the Toon Squad have won it, but it's going to be so they're going to call off a buzzer beat or something. They're going to go in overtime. And I think Lola Bunny is going to score the final points, and she's also going to lead the team in scoring. Those are my opinions.
There are definitely some interesting takes. I kind of agree with Gregware on the chase down block thing, because that was just like, that is his defining career moment. MJ's is like, believe it or not, I mean, outside of, his buzzer beater shots to win championships, I think the thing that people recognize most, and probably because of his brand, is him just in the air. He's Air Jordan. He's dunking. Obviously, he didn't actually dunk from half court in the NBA, but he did it from the foul line in the dunk contest, and that was awesome. And so obviously they had to recreate it, lengthening his arm a little bit for that dunk at the end of the original Space Jam. So I think that actually is kind of an interesting take, and maybe they do that. I will be honest, I watched Space Jam last night for the first time in my life. Granted, I wasn't born when it first came out. But I'm going to be a little bit of a Debbie Downer here and say that I don't know if it's really that good. I feel like people very much overrate this movie. Maybe that's just me 25 years later, just saying, oh, well, the animation is stupid that they have like actual people right next to like cartoons that are kind of 3D, but they're kind of not, but they're not even really trying to make them look too 3D. So it looks a little weird, but obviously that's going to be fixed in this new movie because, we've come a long way in the animation side. So after I watched the preview for this upcoming film, I was a little bit, I don't know. I wasn't as excited. But now that I've seen the original Space Jam, I feel like this one might be better just because it has so much talent in it. There's a lot of big names on that Goon Squad. So I'm actually going to predict that the Goon Squad wins, because how could you bet against them? They have a ridiculous amount of star talent on that team, and you're facing cartoons. Like, let's just use our brains here for a second. Obviously, these massive goon, I don't even know what they are, but they're aliens, right? And they're just stacked. They have the appearance of Anthony Davis and Damian Lillard and Diana Taurasi. These are all legends on the court, and they're facing off against cartoon animals and one human that wants to kill one of the animals, but some reason they put that behind them when they're on a team together. This is, of course, Elmer Fudd and Bugs Bunny. But regardless, I think that it's going to be, a blowout. So I'm not taking the Toon Squad because, they have one win in the past, but they were with MJ. He's the GOAT.
A blowout? You think LeBron's going to go down that easy?
Yes.
Wow. So hand up, I'll admit, I watched Space Jam for the first time in a long time yesterday too, just to kind of get a refresher on, exactly, everything that went on. And I didn't remember how good Lola Bunny was. I'll say that right now. I think she is the X factor in this game because we know LeBron's going to get his, right? But you need other people to create shots. And that's what she was able to do. I know that in the original, they were getting blown out at halftime, but she was able to kind of get some nice buckets, get a good rhythm, and it allowed them to get the confidence to take the secret stuff, to get back into it. So I think if LeBron wants to get his son back, which I think is the plot of this one, they capture his son, and so they're playing a basketball game for his son, obviously, like one does when your son gets kidnapped. So I think that when you look at that, you're going to need other people to step up. And so, I'll get into some funny props for a second because we talked about this in the pre-show and stuff, that there are lines and you can actually bet on who's going to play well, which is crazy. And, I don't understand how that works, but that is who I would take to be the leading scorer in this one, maybe even over LeBron. I don't know.
Well, before I say anything else, Thomas, I don't mean to be overreacting or mean about your opinion about the first Space Jam, but I think it's a horrible take and you're stupid for thinking it. Now, here's my thing. As I also said earlier, I also think Lola Bunny is going to lead this game in points, probably followed by LeBron. This is probably a safe take. I think, and this is just a pure moviegoer prediction, I think there's going to be some kind of Daffy Duck time plot line where he's overly confident, as he tends to be. I think he's going to lose his confidence during the first half or something. Someone's going to give him some kind of motivational speech, and then he's going to go off in the second half. That's what I think is going to happen with Daffy Duck. I don't know. There is no basis for this opinion of mine. I just think it's going to happen.
I will say if a single player on the Goon squad refers to Lola Bunny as doll.
Oh, it's over. It's over.
And so if that happens, yes, I'm going to take her as the lead scorer. But in any case, I don't know. It's an uphill battle for sure. And I'm very excited to see what Daffy Duck brings to the game because I think personally he was the highlight of the original film, which, take it or leave it. It's a sports movie. Sports movies are rarely good. I've found that sports movies, they just don't measure up to like normal movies where the quality is. Usually the sport is somewhat simplified and it's like I get it so that everybody can like the movie. It is a children's movie, I will say that, but I don't know. I don't. Sports movies just aren't. They never live up to my expectations. So for that reason, maybe Space Jam is better than I'm giving it credit for. But Space Jam 2, I will be watching now that I have the basis of knowledge from this first Space Jam. And I'm very, very excited to see if the Toon Squad has any answer for the absolute dominance that they will be facing in the fight for LeBron's fake son.
Game 6 Clay, masked LeBron, hoodie Mello, Lola Bunny when you call her doll. I mean, you brought that up. If she gets called doll, you may as well flip your opinion because she is going to go off. And also, Quigs, I mean, if we want to micromanage and dissect every single sports movie, you may as well throw out your childhood because they're not meant to be, I get annoyed at this at times too. They're not meant to be, obviously. The movie Draft Day comes to mind. I get so mad at some of the references. I mean, what is that draft capital? What are you giving up to move up 3 spots? But at the end of the day, we have to remember, especially for Space Jam, it's a kid's movie. I mean, the sporting, when you have LeBron or Michael Jordan playing with a ton of cartoons, I give him credit for making the game as realistic, I guess, as it could be. I don't know.
Yeah. To me, this would be like watching West Wing with someone who worked in the White House. It'd be like, oh, well, that's just not, that wouldn't be fun at all. That would be so, they'd be like, well, actually what you're saying. And I was like, get out of here with your stupid facts. I don't want that. Like, I really don't care about, especially in funny sports movies. All I care about is what is fun. Like Caddyshack. I don't care if it's accurate to golf. Happy Gilmore. I don't care. I really don't care. Space Jam is a perfect example of there's not too much basketball heavy stuff. What they took was this national knowledge that Michael Jordan being to play baseball. They took the unbelievably funny personality of Bill Murray and the Looney Tunes, and they made a movie out of it. And I just think that's fantastic. So, Thomas, I'm sorry, but I think you're so incredibly off the mark. It's like not even funny.
All right. Well, I guess I'm barking down the wrong tree, but I will switch topic just the few minutes that we have left, because I want to know if there's any sports / athletes that you would maybe want to see in a Space Jam in another sport. Say, what I was thinking, and I was racking my brain for charismatic athletes that are still playing, that would be great roles. And honestly, watching the match this past week has made me think maybe a golf movie in which Phil Mickelson,
wow, that's a great take,
our MJ / LeBron, might be quite interesting. He's a funny guy. He was funny that entire time. He's very, very, very charismatic. And golf movies are good. Caddyshack is good. It's not a good movie, but it's very entertaining. It's highly entertaining. So golf movies, they're good. So
yeah, you might have just saved yourself this segment with that Phil Mickelson take, because that completely flew over my head. But especially after watching the match, he's corny enough, I think, that it would work. And you need that aspect too. You can't have a guy that just isn't corny enough or whatever. Like a Mike Trout couldn't ever be the lead just because he doesn't have the personality or anything like that. And I mean, if we're looking at parallels, it would make most sense, I think, if you look to football, because it's the most popular sport in America. And it hurts me to say this. I refused to say his name earlier. I'll say it now. I think it'd have to be Brady. I think he also has that kind of, funny side, that corny side, to where you don't think so?
No, his Twitter is run by handlers. He is not funny. If you think he's funny, go watch his SNL appearance in 2005. There are some good skits, but it's not because of him. Certainly not.
Well, the Twitter thing is what really gets me. And if you can show me proof that he doesn't run his Twitter, then I'll rescind it. But at the same time, he was handicapped for 20 years like Bill Belichick. We're finally letting him loose. He's throwing the Super Bowl trophy around. He's having a good time. He's drinking tequila. I mean, I think this is a new Brady that we're seeing in Tampa.
Okay, you ready for some comedy 101 here? If you are a first-round quarterback draft pick who wins a ton of championships and is decently handsome and is married to a supermodel, there is no way that you are ever in your life ever going to be funny. It's never going to happen. That's just the rule. That is the rules of how comedy works. It's just it's not a good looking people's game.
Who's your athlete? Who's your athlete, Tom?
Who's my well? It's a good question because there are a lot of funny athletes. I think Tiger Woods in his prime would have been great for a Space Jam type movie. There's a lot of witty baseball players, but I don't think they're popular enough to.
Yeah.
There's plenty of football players who have the personality to do it. So there's a whole different bunch of people. I think what could be great for a third Space Jam film is having a whole bunch of different athletes from a whole bunch of different sports in some type of Space Jam Olympics. I think that'd be hilarious. But at least that's just what I think.
Okay, great. Last thing here before we wrap it up, we have the GOAT conversation too much. We're not going to go there. But if LeBron's Toon Squad scores more points in this game than Jordan, can we make the case? It's
a completely different game.
Yeah, no, the game has changed. The three-pointers.
They're going to be shooting more threes, obviously.